JettMDK Racing presents NASCAR on MDK RaceDay. As today, the chase for the Bill Friends Cup begins at the toughest and most historic event in all of NASCAR. Welcome to the 2020 Cookout Southern 500 from the Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. And welcome to a special throwback edition of MDK RaceDay. My name is Jet Krause, and I'm going to get you filled in with everything you need to know for tonight's Southern 500. As you can tell from the intro and the graphic you see on the bottom of your screen, we are going retro, old school. We are recreating sort of the late 90s, early 2000s ESPN graphics to sort of correlate with NASCAR's Throwback weekend from Darlington. But let's not waste any time. Let's jump right in it with today's news. Now, we only have one story to talk about, but it's a big one. A few days ago, a rumor was floating around that Germain Racing could potentially be selling the team after it was reported that Geico, their main sponsor since 2009 or 2010 if I'm not mistaken, would not renew their contract at the end of the season and would actually be no longer affiliated with any other form of motorsport teams except being an official sponsor of NASCAR's top division. And yesterday afternoon, Bob Pockrass confirmed that Germain Racing confirms that Geico will not return to the number 13 car in 2021. And because they don't have a sponsor, the team has said that with no sponsor signed, they are exploring a sale of the team. Now the question is if they are going to be selling the team, who are they going to sell it to? Are they going to sell it to Spire Motorsports? Are they going to sell it to Rick Rowe Racing, the Hendrick Motorsports of backmarker teams? And also, where would Ty Dillon go? You know, if, let's say, if they sell to a new team, if it could possibly leave Ty Dillon without a ride, where would he go? You know, he could go to RCR, but we haven't seen RCR open up a third car team in a long time, if not ever, in the Cup Series. So it's going to be difficult to see where Ty Dillon's career goes if he's no longer going to be allowed to return to the team if the team is sold to someone else. And this just overall sucks. I mean, a few weeks ago, Levi Family Racing said they're going to be selling. And now it looks like Germain Racing is going to be selling their team, which, again, it sucks. I mean, Germain Racing was also an underdog team that I really enjoyed when Casey Mears was coming along and building that team up. I really enjoyed that team. I wanted them to be successful. Same thing with Levi Family Racing. Man, this just blows, to be honest. But yeah, this year has just been absolutely awful for the teams, really. I mean, with COVID and obviously with NASCAR's charter system still having major flaws, I don't think you can really put blame on that. It's just, I don't know. It's just sad. It's just sad because here we are expecting 2020 to be this great new year, or like a preview to something really, really great. You know, with the next gen car coming out in 2021, a new business model to make it easier for teams to stay alive and actually to even thrive. A new schedule and all this stuff is going to be happening in 2021, with 2020 being as just a chill year. And now it's just been absolute chaos all over NASCAR. And yeah, hopefully some good news could come from Germain Racing. They're able to find sponsors or find some way to stay afloat and remain racing past 2020. But by the looks of it, it seems as though another backmarker team, or at least another underdog team, let's just say, is going to be folding at the end of the season. But now let's head to a more lighter subject. Obviously, those of you that are watching, today is the beginning of NASCAR's playoffs for the 2020 season. And it's going to be at NASCAR's toughest racetrack at Darlington. Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin lead the way. Harvick with a 53-point gap. Hamlin a 43-point gap. Brad Keselowski in third. Joe Logano in fourth. Chase Elliott rounds up the top five with a 16-point cushion. And then we start to get into the real danger zone. Martin Truex Jr. 10 points. Ryan Blaney 9 points. Alex Bowman 5 points. William Byron 3 points. And then we have a three-way tie from 10th to 12th. Austin Dillon, rookie Cole Custer, and Eric Almirola 1 point above the cut line. Almirola holds the final spot ahead of teammate Clint Bowyer -1. The Busch brothers, Kyle Busch -2, Kurt -4, and Matt DiBenedetto rounds out the playoff grid -5. Now let's take a look at the race analysis for today's Cookout Southern 500. The Darlington Raceway, one of the most unique racetracks in all of NASCAR. It's an egg-shaped oval. Turns 1 and 2 is much wider than tracks 3 and 4. Take a look here at the race analysis. Turns 1 and 2, 25 degrees of banking to turns 3 and 4, slightly less, 23 degrees of banking. Front straight 3 degrees compared to the back straight, which is just a mere 2 degrees. 367 laps to make up 501.3 miles for today's event. Stage 1, Stage 2, 100 laps apiece. Stage 3, 167. And the defending winner is Eric Jones, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. And now on to the moment we've all been waiting for, the 2020 Cookout Southern 500 starting grid. Obviously, with how NASCAR's been going on these past few weeks, it created with a formula starting grid to make the starting lineup more fair and favor more to the drivers that actually compete well the previous weekend throughout the season. And with that, Chase Elliott starts on the pole. He's throwing back to Jimmie Johnson's 2009 fourth consecutive championship paint scheme. To his outside is Denny Hamlin, who's repping the Cale Yarborough paint scheme he ran in the early 70s. Row 2 has William Byron and Alex Bowman, teammates from Hendrick Motorsports, and both are throwing back to honoring their teammate Jimmie Johnson. William Byron throws back to Jimmie Johnson's 2013 All-Star scheme, while Alex Bowman throws back to Jimmie Johnson's 2006 and 2008 Lowe's paint scheme when he won his 3 consecutive NASCAR Cup Series championships in Jimmie Johnson. Row 3 has Brad Keselowski. He throws back to his only championship in the Xfinity Series back in 2010, and Martin Truex Jr., who throws back to 2003 to honor Hank Parker Jr., who drove the number 8 car back in the what was then called the Busch Series. Row 4 has Ryan Blaney, who throws back to Paul Menard's 2003 ARCA Menard scheme. He starts on 7th. To his outside is Kevin Harvick, who starts in the 8th spot. He will be throwing back to the Busch beer can design that was put out all the way back in 1997. Row 5 has Clint Bowyer in number 14 Peak antifreeze car. That throws back to Kyle Petty's days when he drove for Felix Sabates back in 1990. And Eric Almirola in the 10 car throws back all the way back to 1957 to honor the late Fireball Roberts. Matt DiBenedetto in the 21 car, he throws back to the 1963 Ford Galaxy driven by Marvin Panch. He starts 11th, and to his outside is Austin Dillon in the 3 car. He throws back to the last great American hero, Junior Johnson, who drove his time driving for Ray Fox. Row 7 has a pair of Fords on the inside. Joey Logano, who throws back to Bobby Allison's number 22 Miller American scheme from 1985, and to his outside, rookie Cole Custer. He throws back to his 41 car to Curtis Turner's 1956 Southern 500 winning paint scheme. Row 18 has the Busch brothers, Kurt and Kyle. Kyle on the inside lane. He throws back to the 2004 scheme that was driven by Elliott Sadler for Robert Yates Racing. And Kurt Busch throws back to no one. He drives the number 1 Monster Energy Camaro ZL1. Row 9 has Bubba Wallace in the number 43 car and John Hunter Nemechek in the 38 car. Now Bubba Wallace, he throws back to a very interesting paint scheme to 1986 when after crashing in practice, Richard Petty had to borrow DK Ulrich's green number 6 car to run the event. If you look up online Richard Petty 1986 Ulrich green number 6 car, you will see a small STP logo on the front of the race car, but does not represent any of the STP colors. It was just green and white. A very cool, unique thing that Richard Petty Motorsports will be throwing back to this year. And another driver that's going to be honoring Elliott Sadler is John Hunter Nemechek. He throws back to the days of the Sit-Go paint scheme from Elliott Sadler from 1999 to 2000 when he drove for the Wood Brothers. Row 10 has 2 very boring paint schemes, Michael McDowell number 34 car and Chris Buescher in the 17 car. And row 11, this is my favorite row, Christopher Bell in the number 95 Toyota for Levi Family Racing. They are throwing back to Christopher Bell's days when he was the 2017 Truck Series champion for Kyle Busch Motorsports. And in the 48 car, Jimmie Johnson competing in his final Southern 500. He'll be throwing back to fellow NASCAR Cup Series champions, both 7-time champions, in Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty. Row 12 is filled with rookies. On the inside lane is Brenton Poole, who throws back to Ricky Rudd's number 15 Motorcraft scheme from his days with the Bud Moore team. And on the outside of him is rookie Tyler Reddick, who throws back to Jeff Burton's 1995 Ray Bastos paint scheme when he ran, I believe, in the Busch Series. Row 13 has Ty Dillon competing in potentially his final Southern 500 with Germain Racing. The team decided to throw back to their only NASCAR championship back in 2010 when the team competed in the NASCAR Truck Series with Todd Bodine. They would end up winning the championship. Nice little throwback to their times in victory lane with the Onion. And to the outside of him in another very boring paint scheme is Matt Kenseth in the number 42 McDonald's car. Row 14 has Corbin Jordan number 32 Ford, and to his outside is Daniel Suarez, who will be throwing back to his 2016 NASCAR Xfinity Series championship with Eris returning on the race car. He starts in the 28th spot. Row 15 has Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the number 47 Kroger car. And to his outside is Eric Jones, who will be throwing back to Tony Stewart than when he drove a paint scheme that he ran in the fall at Martinsville in 2005. Row 16 has Ryan Newman, the number 6 car, throws back all the way to his days when he ran in the USAC days, this specific paint scheme, when he won the championship back in 1999. And starting in the 32nd spot is Quinn Halve, a very cool storyline. He will be throwing back to Milt Marion, who was a winner of the very first stock car race in America. So they went way back. Starting in row 17, the number 66 car is Timmy Hill. He'll be throwing back to Phil Parsons' days in the number 1984 66 Skull Bandit paint scheme. And to his outside is Ross Chastain, who'll be throwing back to Dale Earnhardt's 1976 car that he ran at Atlanta. Row 18 has Ryan Preece, the number 37 Busch Beans car. And to his outside is James Davison, who will throw back to an IndyCar / NASCAR crossover that was driven by Tommy Sneva's number 53 car back in 1983. Row 19 has a very cool paint scheme on the inside. JJ Yaley, he throws back to Kenny Irwin, who drove that paint scheme, a Nerf paint scheme back in 1997. And Josh Bilicki from Tommy Baldwin Racing, they'll be throwing back to Tommy Baldwin Sr.'s modified number 7 car. And right out the field is number 51 of Joey Gase. He'll be throwing back to Bobby Allison's 1971 Coca-Cola paint scheme, and that year, Allison won the Southern 500. So who do I think is going to win tonight's Southern 500? Well, it's going to come down between two drivers, Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin. I see no reason as to why their momentum won't continue on into the playoffs. And you have to remember, the last two winners at Darlington was Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin. Harvick won in NASCAR's first race back since COVID-19 on May 17th on Sunday. And then I think on Wednesday night, Denny Hamlin won that race at Darlington. So even when it comes to racetracks, it's Harvick or Hamlin. Harvick or Hamlin. It's so difficult to pick who's going to one up the other. But I have a feeling that Kevin Harvick is going to go to the victory lane today. I just see him as the better driver at the moment, very slightly. But I also won't be surprised if I see Denny Hamlin also go back-to-back here in tonight's race. It's going to be a very fun show. The first race of NASCAR's playoffs. Obviously, we know the history that Darlington brings with Throwback Weekend and just taking a look back at years past, with all the years, all the history that NASCAR had throughout its time. It's going to be a very fun show, and I think it's going to be an awesome opening to NASCAR's playoffs. But that will conclude this episode of a throwback edition of MDK Race Day. Guys, tell me in the comment section down below, who do you think will win to today's race, and who do you think will start off in a major hole after Darlington? Again, leave me all your thoughts in the comment section down below. But until next time, my name is JettMDK from MDK. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys next time.